What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. Want to show you something. I thought this was an interesting chart. This is actually by New Me. It is a listing for financial coaches, money coaches, I think is what they call them. And so I don't want to split too many hairs about this, but I just wanted to show you maybe some information on what financial coaches are charging and then give you some of my thoughts, my conjecture, my guesses about what mining coaches are actually charging. So Numi is a place where you can register, list yourself as a financial coach if you want to be on there. I would certainly, take a look at that process to getting listed there. I'm not on there, so I can't tell you exactly what it takes to get on there, but it's a place where people can potentially find them. Now, my experience with listings, business listing, coach listings, is that nobody uses them. So yes, someone might be able to find you there, but I would not expect to put that up and then put up your listing and then expect to just have everyone start calling you, ring in your phone. But what they actually did here was they actually pulled the listed hourly rate for their um, listed financial coaches. Okay. What this does not show is what these people are actually charging. So let me be clear about that. This just shows what they list as their rate in their profile, in their bio and listing. Okay. So what I also want to show you here is they have two little stars, and these are outliers. So someone is listing themselves at, I don't know what this is, $850 an hour. And then this one I know is actually $7 an hour. So they're actually saying for $850 an hour or $7 an hour, I will work with you. Now, I think a lot of people are surprised about the $7 an hour one, and I would say, are we surprised that it says $7? Because $7 is more than nothing, and depending on your topic or if you're working with someone in debt, they might say, "Listen, I can pay $7, I can pay $14, but I really want someone to help me for a couple hours," and that might actually be good value and actually good income for someone, depending on where they're located. $7 an hour might be more than they can make locally, and maybe they're not even based in America. It's possible. So and what I also would say there, is spoiler alert, that a lot of people are not charging anything. Maybe they're chalking it up to beta clients, or their family or friends or whatever it is. So while we think about $7 an hour, it's certainly more than zero. And I know a number of coaches that are charging zero, either because of who they're working with, or because of the type of practice they want to run, or because of the ministry or the service that they want to provide through it. So, but what we can see here, it's not that easy to see. 750, 500. My face is blocking this, so let's see if we can fix that. 250 down to zero, and what you can see is it's very heavily banded right in here, right? So if we split this at 125 and we look, there are people scattered right around that 125. And when I've talked about people charging $100 an hour to $150 an hour, I think that is pretty typical. That would capture a lot of this. Now, I will say that they have posted that their average number is like 139 an hour. I think about $130 an hour, which seems to be just about right for what most experienced financial coaches would list as their rates. Now, I will say, if you look at this and you say, and if you're charging there and you're not that busy, you might be saying, well, look, there's some people here kind of undercutting us. And at 150, I would say that there seems to be a lot of people in that 75 down to even 50 or less, the sub $75 range. Now, I think that's interesting to me because if I look at the concentration of people that are charging under $75 an hour, I think that's kind of a new trend in financial coaching. I know a lot of places, especially if you have the big names, better certifications, are keeping their numbers up higher. But I think there's two things going on. I think there's a lot of people who are saying, well, I don't need a certification, which is absolutely true. You don't need one. There are a lot of people coming in without a certification. There are a lot of people coming in that don't have necessarily a lot of life or work experience. So some younger people, some good experience, but they don't necessarily have 4 or 5 years of personal finance education under their belt. And so, the concepts are still pretty high level. And so when you look at that, and then also people who are trying to make extra income on the side, there's a lot of competition in the space of below $75 an hour, in the $50 an hour range. And I think that's, to me, there's some new gravity at that price point, and that's why it's going to be harder and more competitive. Now, if you can get the $100, I think that is kind of on the upper edge of what I have seen, at least in the real world, of people being able to charge. So the other thing that I mentioned here and I want to bring up is that this is the price points where they are listed at. So this is what financial coaches are advertising. Now I have a sneaking suspicion, because one, I've done it and I've talked to other people that are doing it, that when you have someone, a prospect that comes in, because they can be rare, they can be very important, someone that comes in, you don't want to let them go. You might be telling them to charge $150 an hour, but when they ask, do you have anything that is discounted for bulk hours, right? If I do 3 hours, instead of um, uh, $450, what could you do for me? And there's a lot of people that will say, well, for if you prepay 3 hours, I'll do it for $100 an hour. If you prepay 5 hours, I'll do it for $75 an hour, or I'll sell a package, those types of things where you're not quite getting it in the hourly rate. And so that's also moving it down. So even though some people are maybe advertising $150 an hour, their actual price charged might be actually at $100 an hour, and that's to give them some room to move there. So just because what we're seeing here is an average rate of $130 an hour, my guess is that their effective rate, what they're actually charging, is probably in 100 to 75. And for the people that are charging half of that at the $75 range, my guess is honestly they'd probably be willing to take $20 or $25 an hour, because that is a pretty good hourly rate when you think about working out of your home or on a phone call, instead of stacking boxes or something like that for half that price on minimum wage. $20 an hour, $30 an hour. A lot of people are happy to get that. To be honest, when I started, I would have been thrilled to be able to charge that. So just a little bit of information on what financial coaches are really getting. This chart here is actual listed rates per hour. However, everything beyond that, everything that is not on this chart, is just my conjecture based on my experiences and talking to people. So hopefully, you're getting the rate you want. What I won't say is that hopefully you're getting, your rates moved up. If you have more experience, your docket is booked, you have more certifications, you have more accolades, you've won an award, you're doing speaking, your time is getting more valuable. Hopefully those rates are going up. I'm not telling people to try to get the rates up just to make more money. Really, there's this balance between working with people and helping them on their finances and being also unattainable, because a lot of financial advisors, especially fee only financial advisors, or you know uh, financial advisors that charge an hourly rate, can also be in this range too. And when we're talking about what they do and taking on some of the risk of managing those investments, looking more specifically at tax strategies and all these other things, and then owning it and being responsible for it and having, the insurance and the liability and, on their work, there's a reason that they have to charge certain rates. But, sometimes I think and I feel and I hear that people are telling financial coaches that they can get certain rates, which I think professionals in the sense that do some of what we do and then even more aren't even getting. So I don't want people to come into financial coaching thinking that, yeah, I'm going to make $100 an hour, and if I get a lot of hours, great. If I don't get a lot of hours, it's still $100 an hour. It just doesn't work quite like that. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful to you. Maybe it's surprising or eye-opening, maybe it's not, but hopefully it's going to help you figure out what the right pricing for you is. All right, see you later.